Welcome back, dear viewers. After this interesting introduction, we are glad to have with us today Faris Almussallam, tour organizer and leader in Blue Book.
Good morning.
Good morning, Faris.
Good morning, Faris, and we'd like to welcome you here in Good Morning Kuwait. And it's really, you see, this is your occupation is very amazing, honestly.
Thank you.
You know, and it's very difficult.
It is
Fatma.
difficult.
You know, we were chatting off the air, and you know, especially when you try to manage trips and traveling for a group to some areas you didn't see.
Yes.
That becomes more difficult. But anyway, let's not go deep down. You know, first of all, tell us more about the Blue Book team for trips and its goals, and where did the idea of creating this team came from?
Well, Blue Book as a company was established in 2019, and our focus is to organize group trips for people who don't like group trips, with a special focus on history, culture, and nature.
Okay.
When I say group trips for people who don't like group trips, is because the traditional understanding of a group trip in Kuwait is either extremely big groups of 20 plus people and shouting kids and people running around, or extreme adventure travel where there's, you know, 9-10 hour hikes, people sleeping in tents, etc. And that's not what we do. Our focus, as I said, is on history and culture. And that doesn't mean
museums?
It doesn't mean going to museums, because that's something that anybody can do on their own. But what we do is we organize hands-on activities whereby you participate in the country's culture. So
so you indulge in the culture.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because that way, when you're doing something yourself, you're learning without being given a lecture.
So when you're saying hands-on,
yes.
Like what? Give us an example.
For example, when we did our trip to Japan in 2019, we participated in a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. We learned how to use the katana swords with the samurai
This
descendant.
is like, you know, where the room and there is this square table.
Exactly.
Oh,
that's amazing. The katana swords.
The katana swords.
That's
we learned
amazing.
How to
so that's what's called
katana sword.
The swords.
The
they
swords,
were,
okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, look, there's
that's the tea ceremony.
That's
exactly. We also learned how to play.
Is that you?
No, that's Muhammad.
I told you you guys look alike. So that's Mr. Muhammad
Al-Mawla, who's my business partner.
Yes, and we say hi to him, and we wish he was here with you too.
Yes, hopefully he'll be here the next time. So yes, we also learned how to play the drums. We had a calligraphy class. Wow. So we find out what that culture is known for, and we participate in it. And when you do something, you remember it more than visiting a museum.
From what I can understand, Fatma, it's only for couples.
No, it's not for couples.
Even
individuals are allowed to join.
I meant kids.
No.
Okay.
No, we only take people 18 and above.
Okay.
Yes.
That's actually one of the reasons why I follow them on their social media account.
So you follow them, huh?
Oh yes, of course. I was very excited to know that they were our guests today. And as you've mentioned at the first of the interview, it's very difficult when you go to a group. Traveling, of course, it's difficult. You're not in your home, you're not with the people you love, and it's also difficult. So imagine if you're put with strangers who also have all the same activities. And we would like to know more, how do you know the person and what they like, and if they're going to enjoy this activity or not?
Okay, well, when somebody first signs up for a trip, there's an application form that everybody has to fill out.
Okay.
And from that application form, I can kind of get a sense of who this person is. Okay. So there are certain questions that we ask that I get a feel of who this person is, and will they enjoy this trip, and will they not enjoy this trip. And also the kinds of activities that we do are sort of icebreakers. So for example, if we do a cooking class, it's not really about the end result, it's more about bonding together. It's more of a social activity, and that brings people together. And since we're a small group, that means that there are more chances for interaction
Yes.
and for getting to know each other compared to being in a big group where people separate into smaller groups.
Wow. So you are implementing the saying, it's not about the destination, it's the journey.
Okay.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely, yes.
That's a good way of you know,
Yes.
putting it. So so do you have as a guide to be done that, been there, so you let others, or no? Sometimes you go to places or you have an experience that for the first time as if a traveler.
Well, my role and Mohammed's role is not strictly as a guide. Our role is as a team leader or a trip leader. We always rely on the services of a professional local guide, and the guides that we choose are more on the academic side rather than on the touristic side.
Okay.
Because in order to be a guide in any country, there are certain tests that you have to take. You have to be licensed, and you have to have special government permissions to guide a group in different places. And as much as you read about a country before you go, you can never have the same local insight or knowledge that a local guide will have. So I think that's something extra that we provide as Blue Book, is that we select our guides with a lot of care and attention in order for the group to benefit the most.
Interesting. And tell us more about the trips. What are the most prominent trips that you have organized, and what are the most important information and cultural experiences that you gained for you and your group?
Well, I'd like to think that all of our trips are prominent, but maybe to better answer your question, I can tell you the places which...
Is it like Europe or Southeast Asia?
No. Well, we've done trips to a lot of continents. We've done... Our most recent trip was a research trip to Argentina.
Oh.
We've done trips to the Dominican Republic, Panama,
Beautiful.
Cuba. We've done Uganda, India twice, Japan, Poland, Russia, Spain. We'll be going on a research trip to Algeria next month. And we'll also be doing southern Spain, Andalusia for the second time.
That's beautiful.
Also towards the end of September. So we tried to mix it up a little bit. And another trip that was also very successful was our trip to Uzbekistan, which we're doing again in November. So
so you try to stay away from the touristic places?
well,
is that what you
all
do?
places are touristic, but probably...
Like the popular place.
Yeah, the popular, overcrowded places, you know.
Well, pretty much all places are touristic, but they probably aren't touristic or known as touristic locally over here. So we try to shed light on places which aren't so well known. So for example, the first trip we ever did was to Vietnam, whereas a lot of people from this region are probably more familiar with Thailand and Singapore, Malaysia, Bali, but not necessarily Vietnam. And what we do is we try to explore new places and shed light on them.
So I get the feeling that, Faris, you guys, your customers are in the mid-20s, mostly?
They're a little bit older, so I would say the age range is between 30 to 55. And actually, the vast majority of them are ladies. So I'd say maybe about 80% of the people who join us are ladies.
Really?
Interesting.
Yes.
And do you have certain times of the year? Are these trips conditional on certain times? You know, for example, we'll go to Spain, let's go in the summer, or let's go in winter, or...
Well, especially this year, it wouldn't be a good idea to go to Spain in summer.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
But
we double the heat.
Double the heat, yes. No, but we are very conscious of what the weather will be like in the places that we go to. So we try to schedule them on or around the best time of year to go, but also to avoid the peak tourist season over there.
Okay, I see.
To avoid the crowds and the extortionate prices.
So basically, that's a smart move, you know, because you go. It's not like, you know, the season of you know, traveling. For example, at the beginning of September, you know, that's one, and maybe the end of winter or end of spring.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. And we also take advantage of, so for example, our trip to Argentina, because it's in the southern hemisphere, so it's winter over there.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So that's a good time
Yeah.
to switch it up. You know, we
Yeah.
like the cold weather, so we went
And-
to where it was winter.
Yeah,
And
that's
Mr.
nice.
Faris, of course, I do have a question of my own.
Sure.
I want to ask you about your opinion on budget traveling, because I love finding deals and, you know, finding,
Oh,
yes.
that's
And
smart.
you can actually travel 5 times a year
Yes.
if you go on budget traveling rather than just 1 time a year. And that's for people who love traveling. So what do you think about
That's
that?
very true. I always say that, you know, you can always travel anywhere you want to based on your budget. It just takes a little bit of extra research. I would also keep an eye out for any promotional deals, whether it's from hotels or from airlines. I always recommend to people in my circle to join loyalty programs, earning points, and that's a really good way to travel on a very low budget.
Yeah.
And I've done it myself very times. All you have to do is pay the taxes, and the rest is paid with points. So there are many different tricks that you can
Yes.
lock into.
Yes,
I'd
of
say.
course.
So I want to ask you this of my own also. Do you come across, you know, this customer that really picky and
Oh,
you know what
there's always that customer.
honestly, Faris,
we
definitely
do.
you come across.
Yes.
You know, every group there is one guy, you know, comes and pops out.
We've come across lots of different kinds of people.
Yeah, because you know, attitudes you're talking about.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
talking about different attitudes, different expectations,
Yeah.
different mentalities.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are in a customer service industry. We do our best to meet everybody's expectations. One thing that we do is that prior to any trip, we have a meeting with the participants
Okay.
in order to explain
Try to
what to
sense.
expect.
And sense each other.
And sense each other.
Okay.
Then again, during the trip, it's always different. And it's also the case if you travel with friends you've known for years, and then
Okay.
you
Oh, yeah.
travel with them and you see a totally different side. So
Yes, we have a saying in Kuwait
Oh.
also, you know your friend when you
when
travel,
you travel with them,
Yes,
and that's
yeah.
extremely true. And I think
Oh.
the benefit of going with a small group is you get to know each other very quickly at the beginning. So by the end, you know, we leave as friends, as family
Friends,
members, and we stay in touch, you know,
Nice.
even years after the trip.
So if I say Faris, Almussallam, definitely everybody knows you now.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
That's amazing. And of course, what comes to mind when we talk about traveling is security.
Yes.
How can you ensure security for the travelers that you're with, especially that they are somehow your responsibility?
They are our responsibility. One side is doing our research prior to going, and the second side is to rely on the local knowledge of the guide that we use. Like I said, it's always good to read up as much as you can, but it's always the local person who will give you the real insight, the real knowledge of how and where to stay safe.
Because honestly, there is some of the countries you mentioned, you know, they have like the percentage, you know, or the extension of security, you know, varies. So.
You're right. However, we have to differentiate between reputation and reality.
Okay.
And we also have to understand that any big city will have safe areas and unsafe areas,
exactly.
which is true for a lot of
And
places that
that's
we're
where-
familiar with, such as London and Paris and New
So,
York.
so Faris, you are the first one to wake up and the last one to sleep.
On a trip, yes. On a
Is
trip,
that true?
yes. That's true, and that's mainly from excitement, actually, because I enjoy doing these trips
Really?
so much.
That's
Yes.
beautiful.
That's amazing.
So, Faris, you also have all the success and this experience, and we want to know more about your future plans. What do you aspire to? What do you look for in the future?
Well, we look forward to continuing to provide the same level of, let's say, professionalism, to grow our network of guides, and to do more trips in a year.
You guys have an office or something, or just
We're currently moving from office to office.
okay,
Right
or
now.
it's like only like soft office, like for example, social media and that's it.
Yes, well, definitely we have a presence on social media, on Instagram and our website, and that's really where we conduct our business. The office is more for certain functions that we have to carry out on the back end, let's say, but everything else is done online.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
She's also an English teacher. You know, she
Oh.
can teach English. You know, if you guys need an assistant, she's.
I don't think they do. I don't think.
No, I mean, maybe they want to have
Thank you
a
very
smaller
much.
branch.
Thank you very much. But also, we would like for you to say one last word for our dear viewers about traveling. We're very excited about this.
Well, what I would say is to do your own research, to keep an open mind, and not be afraid to try new things.
So, okay, how about, you know, because our director just asked me this question. How about the elders, you know, the old people, the age? Is there like a certain limit of the age? So
There isn't an age limit. There is a, let's say, health limit. So
okay, health limit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, we're upfront and we'll say, you know, for example, this trip it has
Needs
say
some
an
physical
hour or 2 hour hike. If you're
energy.
okay with
Yeah.
doing it, then you're more than welcome to. There's no
Okay.
upper age limit. There's only a lower age limit.
Okay, so basically, even if you are old, but if
80,
you have
90
this
years old, if you're in good health,
physicality and, you know,
definitely.
and you are energetic, just...
You're as young as you feel, right?
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
Of course, yes.
It's a number.
It's a number. Yes.
And of course, we want to ask, now that you prepare and organize for everyone who wants to go with you on this trip, do you have consultation services
Yes.
where, you know, I'm not ready to travel, but I want to know more about this and I want you to teach me about this trip and that trip? Yeah.
We certainly do. We can. What we also do is we also can plan a private trip for you, which is part of the consultancy services that we offer, and there are different prices for that. Obviously, because there's a lot of research that goes into it, and there's a whole presentation that we conduct. And we won't only tell you what to do in the country, we'll also tell you where to stay or provide suggestions on where to stay, restaurants, activities, day trips, etc. And we'll also plan it and, you know, tailor-make it to your budget and the time that you can travel.
Thank you very much,
You're so
Faris
welcome.
Almussallam, for everything and for all the information. We really enjoyed our conversation with you.
Thank you so
Great
much.
thanks to you, Faris, and all the best of luck, you know, in future trips.
Thank you so much. It's been a
Dear
pleasure.
viewers, I guess that's it for our episode today. Until the next one, please stay safe and have a good day.
Stay safe. Goodbye.